Alright. Hello superhero friends, welcome to the late night comic book read. We are a little behind schedule today, as well as I'm starting to do these things a little bit differently. I'm also in a new location. We are going to be finishing off, not this one. I was on the hunt for what we're actually going to be reading today, so thank you all for joining me. So we are doing a Batgirl comic book reading, so we're going to be doing a completion to Summer of Lies, which is this series which kind of does some flashbacks with my favorite Nightwing, along with Batgirl. So it's kind of like a crossover. Batman's not really involved too much in this, but we really are going to be completing the storyline behind what actually happened with Ainsley and Batgirl. So thank you for joining me. I'm a little bit late. We're going to be doing not as many live comic book reads in the future, but for now that's what we're going to be doing, and thank you all for joining me. So hold on, let me just make sure. I have a different setup today, so I just want to make sure that you guys can hear me okay. So hello everybody, and then just also making sure that the smooth jazz isn't too much in the background. There we go. Hi everybody, welcome. So what we're going to do today, we're going to be doing a comic book read. I'm going to try to give you guys some recap as to what happened before, but we'll just try to keep going from where we left off. So this is Summer of Lies, DC Rebirth, Batgirl, Beware, the Red Queen's Revenge. So this is a follow-up to, how should I call it? It's a follow-up to Summer of Lies, what happened before the events of this comic book. So if you weren't around before, I'll give you no worries on previous episodes. Just like, like when you come into like different... Oh, okay, so let's just get started, and then I'll give you guys like a recap as we go, because I am already late, and so apologies. It always takes me so much longer than I think whenever it comes to creating this. So thank you for joining me. We are going to do a read, but I'm going to try to be as interactive as possible with you guys, and like less of like looking at the comic book. Coming forward, I'm actually filming some crossovers between different cosplay characters, as well as some, I'll say, how should I put it, original characters, because my whole reason for doing these reads is because I'm actually working on my own comic book, and I like to think of it as being inspired by the characters that you love. And so Batgirl / Barbara Gordon, I love her, so I'm going to be doing a bit of an astrological reading on her. I was supposed to do that before this live, but time got away from me. Also, there's been some like crazy technical difficulties, generally speaking, right? So thanks you guys for joining. Let's get started, and then if you're lost, no worries, I'll keep you all updated. So people don't get mad at me like bending the pages. Okay, let's see if I can go this way. I'm in a new location, so apologies for me trying to shift where I am. Okay. So basically they're at this this little lair where where we last left off, Batgirl and Nightwing were investigating who was behind, I guess, like this mind control that's happening around Gotham City. And so Ainsley, who's basically Batgirl's TA in computer science at the high school that she first moved into. So she's new to Gotham City at this point. And I remember last time, you guys, we discussed whether or not... oh yeah, Teenage Mutant Ninja Last Ronin. I'm working on getting some new comic books. So like, definitely throw what you would love to be read in the chat, because I do have an April O'Neil cosplay. So that totally works to read Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. April O'Neil is my girl. Let's just go this way. I apologize if you can't fully see all the panels. I'll make sure there's a replay. No worries. I'll just bend it this way. Sorry. Okay, so this is at, what is this? Arrowtech years ago. So this is a flashback sequence, just to keep you guys posted. They're basically, like, you know, the bad guys, they're in their little lair, their little henchman lair, and they have a picture. Yes, April is amazing and beautiful, and she's the whole reason why I even moved out to Toronto in the first place, because I wanted to be a broadcast journalist and work for Channel 6 News and stuff like that. But things have changed, the media has changed, and kind of in some sort of way I'm kind of doing news for the cosmos for you guys, and our analysis of... Oh, thank you, Wandering Wizard, thank you. It's been a crazy week here, you guys. We had a power outage in Toronto because of all the flooding and stuff that had happened, and it just goes to show you, like, you can't mess with Mother Nature. And we only have so much. Oh yeah, the flooding, and there's more I can say on that, but I will leave that not for TikTok. Oops, let me just make sure that this mic, honestly, I have a love-hate relationship with it. Sometimes it's good, and then sometimes there's some strange echo feedback on it. So if you guys hear anything crazy, you just let me know. So I have my live stream schedule set with all of my different cosplay characters ready, as well as my own comic book characters that I'm going to be releasing to you guys. So that all took some work, obviously, and like time is just crazy, right? Like, where is it going? I don't know. Also, Neptune in the sky right now is in what we call the omega point of the whole zodiac. So the 29th degree of both Pisces and the entire zodiac wheel. So we're in a very interesting time as it comes to that. Okay, so Summer of Lies. This is the conclusion, I believe. So if you didn't get the other two readings, no worries. I'll try to recap as we go, as well as I'm going to have this whole series in full for you guys to get as well. So we have Robin and Batgirl. So I love this because I like comic books, as you guys know on this show. I like to feature comics that deal with multi-dimensionality, the idea of the fact that we have different mantles, different versions, and they can all play together at the same time. There's this beautiful scene in Amadeus, about Mozart. So my hubby's a DJ, and we love music, of course. Like, I'm a dancer, I love music. So Mozart has this beautiful line where he's like trying to sell his opera to the emperor, right? And the emperor, there's too many notes. That's a different line though. But Mozart just basically says that, can you imagine an opera? It's so unique because you can have all of these different voices all at once singing, but because they're all at different, octaves, it sounds like harmony and not just like noise and people like talking on top of each other. So that's something to be said about all these different beautiful mediums and how they're able to convey messages. And I look at that like with comic books too. I went on a tangent, so let's let's come back. We've got Batgirl and Robin, because Dick Grayson, Nightwing Dick Grayson, used to be the original Robin Dick Grayson. There was a brief period of time where Dick Grayson actually was like Batman for a while instead of Bruce Wayne, but like that must have been a trip, right, to try to be holding a mantle that only like Bruce Wayne could really hold. So that's what I like to explore with like superheroes, and this idea of like holding on holding on to a, oh my gosh, if to sing, I'll do that later. Abby, hold on to that. I'm gonna keep reading. In terms of all of the acting out, like, you mean as Batgirl? Like, happy birthday. I will do the read, and then we'll do a little break halfway through, kind of like intermission. Okay, let's get started. Enough tangents, my friends. So I hope you can hold it a little while longer, fellas. So these guys are talking about having to go to the bathroom in their little lair. And Robin's like, okay, I hope you guys can hold it. And then Batgirl's holding up a picture of Ainsley saying, because we need to talk. And the bad guys say, intruders. Batgirl and Robin? You've got no right to bust in here. Stay back. I know karate. I can't sing now, buddy. If you have, you can come back another time when I'm doing that. I should actually have like a cameo as this kind of stuff. We have some gigs booked if you want to book us in cosplay to do certain performances, but that's a whole separate thing. Okay. So they bust in the place. And then I love how, like, you know, in the bubbles they can just put like expletives in like you know, symbols. And Robin says, already? That was quick. Who are you turds? And then Batgirl does a high kick to one of them. And then Batgirl holding a bat, because it's funny, I was doing the DC's bombshells, and the Batgirls in those bombshells like literally have bats, you know, like Batgirls. I just think it's funny. Oh, hey, Voice of One, welcome. It's been a minute. Yes, Barbara Gordon here, the original Batgirl, and I'm doing actually a birth chart reading. I was supposed to do it tonight, but I'll probably do it tomorrow night. A Batgirl birth chart reading, and also a look at Yvonne Craig, who played Batgirl in that original 60s series. So I loved that series. I know, like, I was born in the 80s, it's a little before my time, but I love all the old campy shows. So the original Batman show with Adam West, Yvonne Craig, who played Batgirl in that, she actually, like, it's just an interesting look at how those shows also inspired the comic books and vice versa. Like, no different than like how these new Avengers movies or the new comic book movies, there's a feedback into the comic books as well as like we create art. So there's something there about how art's created and further expressed and remixed and all that kind of fun stuff. Okay, so Batgirl holding her bat, and she says, and what do you have against Ainsley Wells? And they're like, whoa, we're hackers, ethical hackers. And she ripped us off. Whatever she told you, it was a lie. She is a liar. So we don't know who this Ainsley is. She's likely this Red Queen. So just to give you... Oh, yeah. I love her. Barbara Gordon, I feel a lot of kinship to. Like, even in this, like all the computer science stuff, like my dad was a professor in computer science, so I learned to code when I was like... I had the internet in like the early 90s, right? When no one else did. But, so there's just some fun commonalities there between like me and Barbara, I feel like. Hey, Stephanie. Stefan? Quebec. Hey, oh yes. I love Quebec. It's fun because Canada, I know you guys know, like I'm from Toronto, but I'm originally from via the prairies, right? Winnipeg, Manitoba. But I've also, way back in the day, I used to be a Kokanee Glacier girl. Oh, thank you. And I think Kokanee may only be a Canadian thing. But I did like road trips between Winnipeg and Whistler, and that's beautiful. Like Canada is like the bomb.com when it comes to like the epicness of beauty. Now, let's get back to the comic book. We're reading Batgirl. So these series of comic books are actually gifts. They were all gifts from when I used to work at a hospital. I used to work in digital project management in diabetes. So it kind of works out with being a personal trainer as well, you know, like getting your body in check and your body's ability to communicate to itself. And like, what does that have to do with comic books, right? Everything. Just because when I got my certification in NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming, it's all about like the stories that you tell yourselves. And oh, thank you. Yeah, I have more that I'm working on as well. I'm doing Dark Phoenix. Zatanna is coming up as well. So oh, hello. Hi, Richard. Hello. Welcome. So let's continue because we're going to complete what is Summer of Lies, Batgirl. I'm doing I don't know when in the day it'll happen, but I am working on a Batgirl birth and death chart reading because, yeah, Yvonne Craig, she's like an OG, and she did a lot of like her whole purple. Like, I love it. It's so good. And also I'm playing Gotham Knights, which features Batgirl, any version of when, you know, Batman dies, and so you have the other Gotham Knights step into the point. So I appreciate you guys appreciating my Batgirl cosplay and the purple one, right? And it's all to say there's many different versions that work when it comes to cosplay. I don't get so stuck on just it being one. Okay, let's keep going. So they're talking about being hackers, and Batgirl kind of comes in and she's like upset. Oh, let me give you guys some background. So I know last time we talked, a lot of people said that one of the versions of Batgirl's origin story was that she moved to Gotham when she was a baby. Now, this version has her moving to Gotham from Chicago after her mom leaves them. And of course, like her dad's Commissioner Gordon. So that's how this origin story goes. I mean, there may be others, right? Just like there's many origin stories of Supergirl. Now, let's keep going. So Batgirl is like, okay, you guys are claiming to be ethical hackers. However, you were throwing darts at a picture of her head. You showed up at her place of work, and you're both packing weapons. Tell me again how she's the one who's up to no good. And they continue, are you saying she works at the Chive Garden? We didn't know. I know she seems nice, but she is trouble. I swear. Now, Ainsley, Batgirl's trying to protect her because Barbara, when she first moves to Gotham, for whatever reason, people don't like superheroes, right? So they like push her into the lockers, they're all like mean to her, and Ainsley's like really nice to her, and she's the TA to computer science, so she's like, hey Batgirl, do you want a job? And she's really friendly. So Batgirl's like, oh wow, everyone's so mean, and like you're being really nice to me, so like why wouldn't I trust you, right? So like it's classic because like I've been like this too, right, where like you end up being in relationships or friendships with people who are like not really great people, but because you're like shy or whatever, or they've been nice to you in the beginning, you like realize it's an abusive relationship, and you're like, frick, how do I like, you'll see, like this is almost like an example of that. Okay, so they continue here to explain to her why Ainsley is like bad news, right? We fell for it too. Ask Harvey. He used to date her. Ooh. Ask me what the heck is going on here. So I guess their lead hacker guy comes in and is like, what the heck is going on? What? Batgirl, Robin. So they're sitting down. I met Ainsley when she first came to town. So they're all sitting down having a conversation when they initially thought that these guys were bad news. So now they're going to get the down low to this Ainsley chick. Don't judge a book by its cover. I met Ainsley when she first came to town. She was going through a rough time, you know? She had to drop out of MIT, some kind of problem with her sister, that sent her into a tailspin. So something happened with her sister. What could that be? Oops. Let me just move this mic a little out of the way so I'm not banging into it all the time. Okay. She's a kick-ass hacker. Credit where credit is due, and Harv convinced us to hire her for the team. It was win-win. We'd help her, and she'd help us. I never liked her, so I wasn't surprised when she stole a bunch of our gear. She tried to make it look like a robbery, but we traced it back to her. Amateur. She's not a bad person. She's just confused. So something happened. You know, like trauma happens. You know, oftentimes bad guys are not usually bad guys for no reason, right? There's usually some sort of reason there as to why that happened. But that's not an excuse to hurt people, right? You know? Okay. So, she's not a bad person. She's just confused. She dumped you, man. You can stop making excuses for her. Yeah, I didn't want to say anything, but she's mixed up with some bad people. Hey, Danny boy. Hi. Oh, thanks for all the likes, Kingies. Appreciate that. So, we are finishing off this series of Summer of Lies. Not all my lives are going to be comic book readings going forward, but in this case, I do have some series that I want to complete, some storylines to take a look at, because I think that there's special nuggets in there for you that perhaps you want to hear, right? Okay, so they're explaining that this Ainsley chick that Barbara / me, Batgirl, are like, what? This girl's not actually a nice person? What does this mean? Okay. Yeah, I didn't want to say anything, but she's mixed up with some bad people. That's what always happens. You know, you can be a good person, just mixed up with the wrong crowd, you know? And Batgirl is like, okay, still like, you know, arms crossed, like, okay, like who? What bad people? Explain yourself. You can't just tell me this. I saw the Mad Hatter chatting her up at Robobar. Now remember, when we last left the Mad Hatter was actually in the hospital, and the Red Queen was who put him there. And who is the Red Queen? Potentially this Ainsley chick. So we're uncovering all the pieces together. Ainsley's bad news like a fender bender, but Hatter's prime time. That new drug he's selling, EMJ, is a total brain melter. The kids love it. That must be the stuff sweeping through Gotham County High. Have you tried it? So they're talking about the weird drugs that are being like distributed as a way to like mind control a lot of the teens in Gotham City. And then they say, nah, man, it's too unstable. I heard some dude had a bad trip and jumped in front of a subway car. Maybe when it's out of beta. Out of beta? does that mean it's a techno drug? This is Batgirl asking. A techno drug. Oh, it's nanobots. And I remember Ainsley, like, I don't like nanobots. Like, they just like bed bugs, but they're like mechanical bed bugs. Like, why? Why? Why do I have flying cars? That kind of stuff. Why nanobots? Okay. Out of beta, does that mean that it's a techno drug? Nanotech. Users love it because it doesn't show up in a test. Yeah, people love loopholes. Loopholes are always... And then close-up of Robin's face and him saying, that explains the traces of metal and silicone I found in the drink sample we took from that party. Dun, dun, dun. We should have like my little sound effects here for stuff like that. Let's see. Can I do that? I will figure that out later, how I can add little, you know, because I apparently for the lives can add like some sound effects to make it seem like we're actually in the comic book. So I'll figure it out, you guys. We'll like raise the production value of these. So it's like we're in the comic book. Okay, so Robin's like, oh my gosh, that explains the whole nanobots and what we found in like the blood of some of the people, right? And so they continue saying, and it's totally customizable. You buy the bugs, you download the program you want, you get the experience you want. So the nanobugs, like, you drink them, and then you program what type of experience you want to have. Really crazy in a comic book, right? So then he continues saying, you can even set it up so you'll have the same trip at the same time as a whole group of people. And Batgirl turns to Robin saying, that stupid song, singing about your emoji EMJ. The song was the program. That's a huge tell, guys, how like music has keys, and if you were going to mind control somebody with like bad music, it'd be very easy to do that. Or like those jingles, you know, like earworms that get stuck in your head, that kind of stuff. Just like, there's something there to it. I'm not going to get in too deep about what that could be just yet. So they're like, yeah, emoji, EMJ, the song was the program, or emojis could program you. Yeah, earworms. Yes, earworms. And I remember, actually, I read a Birds of Prey comic where like they were relating the mind control thing that was happening to earworms, and they're like, the way to get rid of an earworm is not another earworm, because you're just replacing, like, what good is that? Even if it's a better song. So it's like using an earworm to program people with nanobot technology that makes it seem like you're having a trip. It's crazy, right? Yeah, trippy. So this is what they're dealing with, and this is still in the past, right? You can tell because Robin's still Robin. It's not Nightwing yet. Thanks for your help. And this is what Batgirl's saying now to the guys who are like, we're ethical hackers. This is what we know. Mad Hatter's involved. Nanobot technology, sketchy-ish. We're not the bad guys. So Batgirl then says, thanks for your help and sorry for the intrusion. No more throwing darts at girls. They're like, okay, we won't. We swear. Let's go, Robin. You heard her. Take it easy, folks. And that's the end of that episode of Batgirl and Robin. So they thought they were going to be dealing with, oops, I dropped my other comic book. Hold on. I have this one as well. It's kind of crazy. I don't know if we'll get to it. We'll see, because I started late, as per usual. I'm sorry. Let's keep going. Yo, what's with the hasty exit? Let me come a little closer. I'm in a new location, you guys, today. Like with more of like the purple in the background. So I hope, and I'm trying to have it more mood light, but at the same time, I just want to make sure I can actually see the writing. Okay, so they leave, and Batgirl, it says, is jumping away, right? Just like that. And Robin says, "Yo, what's with the hasty exit? Sorry, I'm kind of freaking out right now. Ainsley's helping Hatter to design those nanobots, and I was helping her develop them." So now like Batgirl's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm like involved in like criminal activity. I didn't even know it." Oh no. And she says, "Ugh, I feel so gross. I was working for a drug dealer for free to boot. I donated my time to an illegal enterprise." "Don't blame yourself," says Robin. "She used you. She's a contractor. Maybe she doesn't really know what Mad Hatter's up to." Now remember, this is in the past, so this is before, I guess, like the Mad Hatter gets what's due to him from Ainsley, who I guess transforms into the Red Queen, whatever that means. Okay, where are we? "Oh, don't blame yourself. She used you. She's a contractor. Maybe she doesn't know what Mad Hatter's up to." And Robin says, "Is this fear of confrontation a Midwestern thing? Why give her the benefit of the doubt when you can just ask her?" Well, yeah, maybe confrontation, fear of that is a Midwestern thing. Or like, you want to be polite. I want to like confront you like, "Hey, are you doing nefarious stuff?" Just straight up. Like, and of course, like, they'd probably lie to you and then like be suspicious of you. So you have to play that a bit more strategic there, Robin. So bottom panel here. "Sigh," says Batgirl. "Scrapping with baddies is a million times easier than finding out a friend might be mixed up in something bad. I hear you, Batgirl. Ainsley is Barbara's friend, not Batgirl's. Remember?" Ooh, what an interesting lesson, right? So like, Ainsley is Barbara's friend. She's not Batgirl's friend. So the distinction between those characters, right? So, "And I think you can delay a little while longer." "Huh? Isn't that her?" So like pointing down, I'm guessing they're going to see her. And they see her walking suspiciously in the alleyway. "Yeah, that's her. Looking suspicious in a bad part of town." I didn't even have to read that part yet. And I was like, she's literally like walking around looking all sus and stuff. And then, "Let's see where she's headed." And so she's walking, and they're like sneaky behind her, trying to like make sure I hate, side note, whenever you're playing video games, you know, like those parts in the games where you have to be like sneak or stealth. I'm so bad at that. Let me just go out guns a-blazing right in front. But anyways, they're being all stealthy, following her. She's meeting with someone. "What? Now? They're in the basement. No windows. I've got an idea. I just got a new bat mic." Of course you do. I love that. It's like, "I just got a new bat mic. And this is the perfect excuse to try it out." So then they're dropping the bat mic in. It just looks like a normal microphone that's small, but they use this anyways. But then, so now they're overhearing the conversation. "But then my sister found out I was using, and she told my parents. That's Ainsley. I hear her." So I guess that's the falling out she must have had with her sister. Her sister must have told her parents that she was using, right? Oops. Put this. Let me put the mic. Sure, I'm not keep hitting it there. "That's Ainsley. I hear her. So I dropped out and I went to Seaboard Recovery for a month. Then I moved down here to work for a while and save money so I could go back to school. But instead of sticking with the plan, I'm working for a dealer who pays me in drugs. It sounds like an addiction support group. So not actually sketchy, just private. My family thinks everything's fine. My parents do anyway. I don't talk to my sister anymore. I'm still too angry that she ratted me out. But I'm ready to get clean for real. I have a psychiatrist and I'm journaling, which helps. So yeah, look, she looks like she's trying to like do the right thing here and try to get help at this point. Not meeting with sketchy people. So now, Batgirl, as she's overhearing, says to Robin, we shouldn't be listening to this. And Robin says, we have to. We're on a case. And then, and you're here. That's a big step. And Ainsley says, yeah, thanks. I think this time it's gonna stick. So, but who knows? Like, anyways, it seems like she's on the right track at this point. And Batgirl, like, as she's listening to this, hey Pikachu, hey, welcome. Batgirl says, I know, but this all still feels so wrong. Sure it does. You know, we are reading Batgirl. Batgirl is reading Batgirl. It's actually the conclusion to Summer of Lies, the Red Queen's Revenge. Like, who is the Red Queen? And it's someone from Batgirl's past, which is what we're discovering right now together in the read. So Batgirl and Robin, because this is a flashback, are sitting on the top of the roof. And Robin says, you can't clean up a mess without first getting your hands dirty. Full of the one-liners there, my friend. Hey, it's okay. Oh my gosh, they kiss. There's a kiss in the other comic book too, but as Nightwing and Batgirl, and he's like, we can't do this. But this is like young love kiss. This is like they're probably like one of their first kisses or versions of it. And so now we flash back to now a time. The Red Queen targeted the Mad Hatter, who was working with Ainsley to design drugs. And she took out Dr. Knight, formerly known as Dr. Filbert, Ainsley's psychiatrist. So I have a hunch Seaboard is next on her agenda. Drug dealers kept her sick and the others didn't make her well. Yeah, it must be painful to look for help and no one can help you. But in her mind, it's not that no one can help, it's that no one will help. So in her head, I think she feels like people have ratted her out and they've like turned against her, so she has this like chip on her shoulder situation. That's what it seems like to me. Her mind, you think that the Red Queen is Ainsley? No, duh, girl, Batgirl, yeah. It definitely is all like lining up to be that, right? I'd hope she'd get it together one day, but as a civilian, not a super villain. My superpowers include, I think I have like dream weaving powers. So that kind of situation. And also storytelling fun, right? So storytelling and sharing of stories is a way of sharing inner worlds. And what we use stories for is to also like furnish and like deck out our inner landscapes, right? And then that way we can like have a bit more sparkle and color and nuance and context in each of our stories. So that's I think part of it. Okay, let's keep going. Where are we? Yeah, so she's basically Batgirl, I am coming to terms with the fact that my friend is now perhaps going to be a supervillain. I feel like that's a common trope in comic book stories, you know, where it's like, oh no, someone who used to be a friend from my past is now I have to deal with them all grown up as a superhero, and I have to now resolve something like that. That's something that we ourselves can probably take in our own lives. You know, I've had to deal with this recently, like a coming back around to relationships we've had in the past and decisions that we've made in the past, good and bad, right? Okay, so Ainsley digs. Classy digs. If Ainsley's parents had to pay for this, no wonder she couldn't afford to go back to MIT. Crack. And we're off. So they like went to the rehab center that, what should I say? She basically went to the oops, oh my gosh, oh no. Okay, too many comic books, you guys. All my stuff all over the place. Okay. Let me just keep going so that we can get to the end of this and we can have a little chat about the point of the whole story, you know, like a little analysis at the end of the read. Okay, so they go into this rehab center and it kind of looks like, you know, the movie 12 Monkeys with Bruce Willis, and they're in that like crazy center with like Brad Pitt. It's like, are you Divergent too? This is what it looks like. So long live the Red Queen is on the wall, and there's no help for you here. We never believed in you. All we wanted was your money. Is this the kind of new therapy, doctor? I didn't sign up to be scared to death. What the heck is going on here? I don't know if these are patients or if these are like the people who are supposed to be working there that are doing this. Hold on, guys. I need to stretch my legs. Oh. These down a bit. Hope you guys are having a good evening, morning, lunchtime, wherever you are in the cosmos today. So we're reading a comic book, Batgirl comic book, right? As Batgirl. Just rearranging it. I was like perched and not in the most comfortable position. Okay, so let's keep on keeping on. Let me put this here. Let me put that there. Awesome. Okay. So they went to the therapy center that Ainsley was at, and so they wanted to check it out for clues, right? And then, so why are you saying this stuff? And what's with all of the shirts? This here. The Red Queen wants the world to know the truth about seaboard recovery, that we're in the snake oil business. Don't listen to them. They're bugged up on nanobots. Now remember, in this world, the nanobots actually behave kind of like psychedelics, so you're able to program them to give people like certain experiences. So they use this as a way to mind control and make people like go nuts, right? Kind of like Scarecrow, I guess, in some of the Batman movies to some degree. Okay, Batgirl's on it though, no worries, right? So Nightwing, Batgirl come in onto the scene, running in. I should have like the sound effect for that. What would that be? It wouldn't be the Batman theme, because anyways, I'll think of something. They want you to give up. Don't listen. An automatic bad trip sounds like a bad time. So because initially in this story, Summer of Lies, they thought, and that's why the background of it was like psychedelic mushrooms and the Mad Hatter. I was like, how on the nose do you have to be with like Alice in Wonderland and all of that? So they thought that like the Mad Hatter and the Red Queen were dishing out psychedelics, and this was their way of doing the mind control that they were doing and making people freak out and controlling them and things like that. So they found out that this was not the case. They're actually nanobots that they were programming to act like psychedelic trips, but you would still ingest them, like the the same, and you could have group trips, but these would all be programmed as opposed to it being like, organically created or that kind of thing. So like this there's some stuff there that I feel like is a truth when it comes to this kind of stuff, especially when it comes to like using music as a way to trigger the effect, right? So so Batgirl says, "You're not in this fight alone." And then she does her little like backflip. I should like recreate that loud. No, fight, but like in Batman where it's like pow, slam, wish. Thank you. Appreciate that, Rusty. It's all about bringing it to life, bringing the comic books to life, And I appreciate all the live actions, right? I hope all of them do well, of course, right? But I still need a cape for this. I need a utility belt. I need some boots. This is not a complete cosplay yet, but we will get there. Okay. So crash. All the sound effects. Bam. Splat. Oof. Ah. And then tink. Ah. So now, Batgirl and Nightwing are back to back, surrounded by bad guys. What is going to happen? Well, we'll see. They're going to, of course, get out of it. It's just the way things go. Superheroes, the rule is we always win, right? Oh, yes. Music, for sure. I was talking to... a lot of people love the OA, right? I'm sure you guys like appreciate that. And I love the tell in the OA and comic books, right? DC Comics and the Green Lantern stuff. I'm working on Green Lantern as well, to do the Green Lantern family. Thanks guys. The little crowd. It'd be cool if there was a gift that was like Batman related, like a battering or like the signal, the bat signal. That would be cool. Where was I going with this? DC Comics. The OA and movement and triggering of states. Yes. Okay. Thanks guys. So I'm doing actually a workshop this weekend. I'm doing a virtual one on Sunday. I'm going to have, Tik Tok now has this cool thing where they've integrated Eventbrite, so you can do the event directly on. So I'm doing a virtual event on Sunday for the full moon, and on Saturday, which is all about the art of dance freestyle. Now, here in Toronto, there's a lot of ecstatic dance. Anything that gets you to move, I'm pretty much a fan of. But there is a magic to when groups of people move in sync to a beat. Even from a hormone level, your oxytocin, there's something there in terms of if I do a move, right? And then now you go and you do it too, and we marry each other, we are both getting a burst of oxytocin. And so there's something there because mamas and babies release oxytocin, and those that we love, we release oxytocin with each other. So there's something there with telepathy. And then just like when I dance with my girlfriends and you all know the moves at the same time and you all move at the same time, you can anticipate each other. So there's something there that can be practiced, I think, with us as human beings. There's a way of harnessing it, especially around special times of the month, like the full moon. Why don't we do some sort of portal circle to try to ground ourselves in a positive, optimal, golden timeline, right? And that's why I try to read these stories for you guys too, right? And I was called the other day, someone called me a poser because I was reading, what was it? I was reading Superwoman, and I get it. A lot of the newer comic books do have things in them, let's say, that they're trying to be modern, okay? And I get that. But there are gems in things, right? Just, you can't just say all the old stuff is good. It's not. each story has a potential to have something in it that resonates with you. So I like to give things a chance, right? Up to a certain point, right? So be open, but be aware of the stories that you let into your inner consciousness, because it's very special in there, right? Your dream world, your inner world. So just be aware of like stuff that makes it more empowering for you, and less of like, oh yeah, oh thanks guys. Okay, let's keep going, because we're almost concluding the whole like Summer of Lies series, and then I want to like wrap up with doing a little chat about what we learned. Okay, so they're fighting the bad guys off. They're back to back, and Nightwing's like, there are too many of them. We need a strategy. This reminds me of when I play comic books. Kind of the same thing. When I play video games with my hubby, and we go in like together when we're in a hard level, and you have to have some strategy sometimes, right? And you can't just like go wherever. And so you're like, okay, a lot of guys, so we can't just like button mash. You need to like, you get those guys, I'll cover your back. I like sniping from far away. I'm a big like archer kind of person. I'm like elf archer, assassins from afar. Like I like doing that's when things get too close to me, I don't like it. Like, no. Yeah, unless I have appropriate weapons for that. But the gaming thing, I think I'm trying to work it out where I can play Gotham Knights and also show that on TikTok, but it's hard to. Anyways, I'm off on a tangent again. Thanks you guys for joining me on this live where I'm Batgirl, and I'm reading you guys a Batgirl comic, a story about me. Okay, so Nightwing and Batgirl back to back. He says they need a strategy. She says, I think I've got a magic bullet. Thanks, you guys. I love that you guys appreciate the purple Batgirl, because it's very much a throwback to the original 60s Yvonne Craig rendition of Batgirl, which like influenced me so much as like growing up. Even though that was in the 60s, I love old campy shows, like the best. Okay, I've got a magic bullet. Nightwing says, okay, well, what do you need me to do? And she's like, off, running. Nothing, just hold them off until I get back. Okay, well, nothing, she says. Just hold everybody off. And he gets punched in the face. Oh, but he's like, he's doing his best though, right? You've probably got this under control. Yep, I do, totally. But just in case. Ooh, Dark Knight's Metal. Look at that craziness. I love that. It's like a version, when we come back to Multiversity, we'll kind of look at some of those worlds a little bit more. Okay, so Batgirl's running down the hall, and you've got more of like the Red Queen stuff on the walls. They're trying to investigate who's behind like this mind control using nanobots, which also seem to give these people these like crazy trips. So she's like running down the hallway, and then her thought bubble comes up saying, if the Red Queen is Ainsley, okay, Toronto. Yeah, I'm in downtown Toronto, so it's kind of like very Gotham-y right now. Okay, if the Red Queen, you guys heard that? My bat cycle in the background. I wouldn't have backfire on that. If the Red Queen is Ainsley, she probably based these new bots on the ones she made for the Mad Hatter. Dun dun dun. And if she recycled her original code, she's checking her little utility belt. Check, check. This reminds me of Gotham Knights when you have to like investigate the crime scene. And then meanwhile, Nightwing is like having to hold down the fort. It's like, yeah, don't worry, I got you, no worries. And then all of a sudden, over the intercom, and we're talking about the music being a trigger for this stuff, the music starts to play. Oh, sweet baby, come sit next to me. You know I can't resist your emoji, GG. You're sweet. And so it's like that GG. Can be totally. Gotham can be the next Gotham City. It's, I think, like close to New York. I think in this, they said it's in New York State. But I think we also discussed too that how Metropolis and Smallville, there's some connections there to Canada. So, okay, so they're listening to this over the intercom, and remember they've got the nanobots, Gotham Village. Good point. Because even coming from Chicago, she came to Batgirl comes to Gotham, and she's like, whoa, like Chicago's got nothing on like how crazy Gotham seems to be, right? Okay, so the music's now coming on over the intercom. Oh, sweet baby, come sit next to me. I guess it's gonna be like some sort of like pop song that like triggers them, and then they're like, oh, pretty. What's happening? What's that song? Do you see it too? It's a deep cut from DJ Batgirl. That's really funny considering that like DJ music, all the keys of it. This will be a good thing to do, to revisit this tomorrow. I'm gonna bring this up to my hubby. I'm trying to do the song Ocean Drive featuring Batgirl and Supergirl, like facing the end of the world. I was in Chicago 2 weeks ago. Chicago is huge. New York City is I have actually not been to Chicago before. I have been to New York when I first, okay, I will date myself now, you guys. I always date myself based on like my creative endeavors. So I wrote a comic book. I wrote a book when I was 14 in 1999. I am now 39. So I went to New York when I first graduated from university, and I stayed in New York for about like 6 months because one of my girlfriends actually was a dancer for Alvin Ailey, and so I got to stay in New York in like Harlem, and I did like, it was just fun. New York was a lot of fun back then. That was in 2002, 2003 or so, before I moved to Toronto. And then I moved to Toronto. And New York and Toronto are not, you're totally right. New York's a totally different vibe. And also like the subway system, like Toronto's subway system. Oh my gosh, do not get me started. I've already fought with the TTC multiple times here. Okay. So now, later, after the music was playing, they are now in like this chamber, and they'll be safe in there until the effects wear off. Look at the sparkles. Thanks for your help. My pleasure. Most fun I've had since my hotel room trashing days. Please keep everyone in the common area until the cops get here. We'll sweep the place and make sure everything is secure. What I'd like to know is how the Red Queen dosed the whole staff. And then Nightwing's like, I've got a hunch. And so now they're checking out the break room for clues. Yep. Nanobot laced coffee and donuts. So they laced the coffee and donuts with nanobots, and that's how they were able to like influence everyone and make them go crazy, which is kind of nuts. Considering how our food, it's fun though too. Like I have like a garden. I'm from Toronto, just saying. And New York, Manhattan is my favorite place due to the people. Gotham potential, totally Gotham potential. And I mean, I'm a musical theater kind of girl. When I was growing up in Winnipeg, like I did my high school, I did drama, and so we did Les Mis, The King and I, Oklahoma. So musical theater, Cats, that kind of stuff. So this idea of singing, dancing, acting, all like infused in like how you tell a story. Yes, I could definitely see like New York City and Gotham being, it's a nickname too, right? I think, and I was talking about this as well with the DC, oh my gosh, the DC Watchmen crossover, right? Because Watchmen is basically trying to ground it in like reality. Like you have these very real places, and like you don't, like Metropolis and Gotham are not necessarily real places. So yeah, just like when I know this is because when I try to run birth charts, I can't put in Gotham City in my astro calendar. I have to put in places that sound similar. Okay, let's keep going, my friends. So they're checking out the break room. Batgirl, me, and Nightwing, we're checking out the break room for clues, and Nightwing's like, yep, nanobot laced coffee and donuts. There are some extra Minion shirts here too. And she holds them up. Oh yes, Richard. Yes, the Metropolis is Toronto, and explain that Smallville is near Cambridge. But that whole look of the fields of like grain and like the golden fields of grain and like the sun, that's literally like my childhood. Like the fields in the prairies, that, you know, you bike out there and playing on a farm, there's nothing like it. I didn't realize how much I would miss it. Lowville. But I think also, like, you have to also think of a lot of these places and stories as being archetypal in nature. So I think Promethea has this beautiful line in it about symbology of things, how things look are not as important as what they mean. Okay, and with that, let's keep going. Nothing left but extra large. Oh gosh, I'm so used to that. You know, like when I see like fitness competitions and they give you like goodie bags, the shirt is always freaking extra large. I'm like, great, I'll just cut this up. Nothing left but XL, but they're so soft, I could use it to sleep in. That's exactly what I would say. Gotta love that cozy cotton poly blend evidence, Batgirl. Speaking of which, aren't those the rehab's files? What's Ainsley's last name? Wells. Here she is. Wells. A. Let's see. Therapist notes. Lots of anger at her family. Didn't have faith in the process. Didn't want to accept responsibility of her actions. Refused to see her sister when she came to visit. Flip, flip, flip. You dropped one. Oh my God. What did you find, Batgirl? What is it? So it's a letter, and it basically says, Ainsley's dead. What? Oh, she probably faked her death. You know, like that's a classic thing, like, I'm dead, or I'm like, anyways, we'll see. I'm foreshadowing here. Dear Dr. Nesbitt, okay, it is with profound sorrow that I write to inform you that our daughter and your former patient Ainsley Wells passed away last fall in Los Angeles. As we reflected back on her too brief time on Earth, we were once again struck by our gratitude for the efforts you made on her behalf. Grace be with you, the Challens and the Wells. Oh no. I'm so sorry, says Nightwing. I know you were hoping. Oh, I know. This one is good. I like this version of Batgirl too. That's something to bring up as well. I'm so happy you did, because each issue, every time you have a series, where is it? I know that I have the title on it. Okay. Hope Larson did the script. Chris Wildgoose did the pencils. Jose Marzan Jr. did the inks. Matt Lopez did the colors. I love how much of a team it takes to do comic books, you guys, because it takes all of that together, all that collaboration to bring a story to life. Oh yes, thanks for joining, Rusty. Appreciate that. Yeah, and also too, like different artists will pick different outfits for the superheroes to wear, right? So like whether or not, like what the cape looks like, what the mask looks like, what the wig looks like, all that kind of stuff is all part of like it adds to the story, right? So okay. Oh, have a good night, Omaha. Thanks for joining. Appreciate you guys coming online and joining me for the live, even though I was a little late. I will be back online, same bad time, same back channel as Supergirl. We're going to revisit Multiversity and Crisis on Infinite Earths, and not as a reading, but more of like a view on multiverses, like a little superhero lesson on reality-ish, a version of reality, how you can view reality, a model of it, right? Because it's all just models of symbols. And I think oh my gosh, that gift was crazy. Thank you for that. What an interesting thing, before I go back to the reading, but I have there's this song, I forget who does the song, but Alan Watts does a spoken word on top of it, and he says, we shouldn't confuse signs. Yeah, right? Same bad time, same bad channel. But we shouldn't confuse signs or symbols with the real thing, right? So we can use superheroes to represent what? Heroism, strength, inspiration, all that kind of stuff. But we shouldn't idolize them instead of like the potential within ourselves, right? So we shouldn't confuse, being inspired with idolizing anything. You shouldn't idolize anything. It's just about these art or statues or anything. Oh yeah, Alan Watts is wonderful. I also just love his voice and his like laugh. He has a really, there's I have a couple of spoken word songs that my hubby actually found me that are, I'll share them. They're really nice. With the right song with it, just hits a little different, Okay. Alan Wilson Watt. Oh, you guys, look at that. Isn't there something there too about how the truth in comic books, and you guys all listen to Alan Watts too? He was like a Buddha, right? And it's just, bards, right? People who Terrence McKenna, those who are able to just flow with the intel that the cosmos has, right? Anyone who's a creator, it's about also just having that humbleness of knowing that you're just a conduit for that stuff. Anything that you create, oh thanks for the gift, appreciate that. The lightning bolt, that's why I like Rachel Z. My thing is the Z, the lightning bolt, the glyph of the bridge, the connection between heaven and earth, and oh yeah, Terrence McKenna. And me and my hubby call Terrence Uncle Terrence. Uncle Terrence does, and he has a beautiful quote which I love saying, which is that those who tell the stories rule the world, which of course is a riff on what I think Plato said, which was those who tell the stories rule society, and all that is to also say be aware of the stories you tell yourself, and make sure you take on stories that I love Arthurian legends and myths and all these stories, right? But if I don't like certain renditions, I'll read it, but I don't need to take that on into my inner canon of what those are, of what those meanings of what these are for me personally. And I think that's what's important, to guard the deeper meanings of what these stories are for you personally, because every story, including this, what I'm reading right now, and we'll get to the end too, I promise, is going to have resonance with you. And I'm trying to find this book. Oh my gosh, it's like by this Maltese guy, and I forget, it's something about magic, but just about how Crohn's, like, I feel you for dealing with Crohn's. I used to work at the hospital, and I didn't work with Crohn's directly, but I did have colleagues who dealt a lot with those who dealt with Crohn's, and like, blessings out to you. I hope you it takes a lot of strength to deal with any of those types of I don't like saying diseases. I feel like it's a lot of like our bodies give us signals, and we live in a world that it's actually really hard to be optimally healthy in, right? So anyways, let's keep going. But before I was trying to say that resonance with stories, right? Whatever you resonate with, so like favorite characters, favorite episodes, your favorite movie that you watched like 8 times. In those stories, there is a resonance of you, and I truly think that like you, like from the future, you know, the highest, best, most wonderful version of you that hangs out with the highest, best version of me in that awesome place, you leave breadcrumbs for yourself, right? But just like with every good story, you can't know everything too early on. It has to come at like just the right time to just have just the right moment, right? So you leave clues for yourself, so that like sometimes you'll watch a movie that's maybe from like the 80s, and you like just watch it now, and you'll draw a connection between that and a poem you read, and then in that connection is a meaning that was like left just for you. So that's why I also read these books, because in these stories, sometimes even as I read them out loud to you guys, in that transference is like something brand new in like an understanding. I always like find new things that I'm just like, what? Just follow the riverbank to the source. I love that. Oh, some beautiful wise words in the chat. Oh, amazing, you guys. I vibe with that. I vibe with that. Yeah, because honestly, like I say, like in the frivolous stuff are the keys to the universe, right? So yeah, you can resonate and take what vibes with you, and you can protect everything that doesn't. That's the key. Okay, so she thinks that Ainsley's dead. She's probably not. She probably faked her own death or something. It says here, she OD'd on the street. She'd been homeless for months. She was alone. The only things she owned were her clothes, a couple knickknacks, and her journal. Clearwater, Florida police records. She was always writing in that journal. I'm sure that she wrote about us. Dun dun dun. It says her effects and remains were picked up. Her effects? What does that mean? Okay, her effects and her remains were picked up by Edith Wells, her sister. So maybe the red... Oh, thanks. Oh, thanks, you guys. Thanks for joining. And look at this little like advertisement for Doomsday Clock. Oh, potent. I like that word. Potent's a good word, you guys. Like that's a lovely word. Because potency in your vibration and your energy. When it comes to biofield tuning, you know, if you're not familiar, it's like when you have tuning forks and you like place those forks on your body for healing purposes. But voltage, like the idea of like you have a voltage, we have electricity, and so when you have stories and other things that nourish you, nourish your spirit, you like are increasing your like voltage, right? And then when you get all of us who are like high voltage around each other and you'll move at the same time to the right music, yeah, you could do something really special, I think. All right, she was always writing in that journal. I am sure that she wrote about us. It says her effects and remains were picked up by Edith Wells, her sister. If Ainsley documented what we did back then and Edith read about it, Edith is the Red Queen. She's got the evidence and the motive, she lost her sister. That's Edith? We were just fighting her. She's one of the staff members. And so they run out of the room. I don't know if they can be sure that she's... Let's see. I think that Ainsley faked her death. They think that it's Edith. Maybe it's both. We will see. Okay, so they go back to check on things, and they find out that she's gone. She was taunting us. She came out to watch us play her little game. And then we had her in our fingers and she slipped away. And then it's like, bloop. I love the connections, you guys. It's like superhero activation time. That's what I feel like is in the cosmos right now. So I am here for it. I'm hopeful that one day on the lives, like, something magical just like appears. Wait for the Zatanna cosplay, you guys. Okay. Hindsight is 2020. Always with the one-liners there, Nightwing. Love it. Batgirl says, how long are we going to keep using that excuse? I agree with you, Batgirl. We keep screwing up over and over. We failed Ainsley. We lost the Red Queen. And Nightwing says, we can't change history, and we can't show, or we can't know, the future. But now that we know who the Red Queen is, we can find her and put this behind us. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I always appreciate the comments in the chat, you guys. You know, it's good too, because like when I read this right now, for whatever reason, it feels more natural to have it showing as like backwards to you guys. So it'll actually kind of work. Right? It'll be hard to say. I don't know how to say things backwards like her, but she's such a bomb girl. And also the whole idea that in her mythos, she's supposed to be Leonardo da Vinci's great granddaughter. So there's some fun things there that we can do with Zatanna, Leonardo da Vinci, and the connection between the names of the Ninja Turtles and the Renaissance painters. There's some fun connections there, I think. Stay tuned. And of course, like Constantine, right? Constantine and Zatanna are like buds, like they're friends. So there's a fun, just to give you guys some foreshadowing as to what's coming up for that comic book read. Constantine deals with Shazam / Captain Marvel, and he takes the power for a bit. So it's kind of fun. Oh yes, they're borderline toxic nonsense. But Constantine, I feel like as much as I love Keanu, like they didn't really do him justice. He has got to have more of that, like, really like smokery, like grudgingly, like a Dick Tracy, but like, you know, how does Constantine beat Captain Marvel? Wow, I know it's crazy. He tricks him. That's how it happens. You'll see. He wasn't the right character. There is a scene in there, though, I'll foreshadow it now before I do the Zatanna thing, because it's so funny, where the comic book's called Stealing Thunder. Constantine and Captain Marvel are coming through a portal, and he tells Shazam, it's annoying because Shazam's the wizard, not... Anyways, he tells Shazam, your family's in danger unless you like give me your powers to hold on to for a bit. So he's like, okay, fine. So he gives I don't know how it happens, but he gives his power to Constantine, and Captain Marvel turns into a little boy again, and Constantine's like, what the heck? That doddering old wizard gave all that power to a little boy? And the little kid's like, hey man, look at you being old, trying to hold on to that power, because like the power in Constantine literally like starts to like almost like rip him apart and burn him apart, and so he can only hold on to it for so long before he gives it back. And then in that Shazam's like, yeah, because you're freaking old, you can't hold, like that's why Shazam the wizard gave that power to a boy. There's a reason for that, and there's a tell in that too, as in Billy Baxter. Yeah, exactly. Yes, Shazam is a kid, after all. Billy Baxter, yes. And so Constantine, when he finds this out, is just like, what? He gave all that power to a freaking child? But that is, like, there's a reason for that, right? Like, this idea that kids are, like, more able to hold that power signature because their imagination hasn't been like, that's why Constantine, when he was trying to hold on to that same energy signature, was just like, it's burning me, all that kind of stuff. So that's to come. I'm going to read that Constantine comic book at Zatanna, because she's in that as well, and she's so sassy. I love her. It was one of the first heroes back in the 1920s, I think. Oh, wow. Yeah, I think when I was doing my research into like just comic book heroes, Captain Marvel is like one of the oldest ones. The first one being, I think, The Phantom. Remember that movie? Also purple with Billy Zane. Anyways. Okay, let's finish off this comic book. He loves her and she doesn't put up with his shit. Yeah, exactly. And like Z, and like I'm Rachel Z, so it's Zatanna. There's this cute sassiness there. And one of my girlfriends said that in one of the shows, Zatanna's personality is very similar to mine in just like real life. So I'm considering, my hubby told me about this show when he was growing up, about this like cute girl who used to like teach magic, like this is how you do these tricks. And so so I used to compete in fitness competitions, you guys. So I used to do like bikini shows. I competed in Vegas. I used to do like Miss Hawaiian Tropic competitions. And you know what? It was really bad for my body. And I was doing like 2 hours of cardio a day and like training. I did nationals. So the last time I competed was actually in 2017 in nationals here in Canada. I placed top 10 out of like a lot of girlies, and it was good. Like I did bikini. My heart's in fitness. I'm not a gymnast though, I'm a dancer, so it was hard for me to compete with a lot of tumbles and flips, so I stopped competing. So right now I work out just because I love it, and I also have gone back to my roots as to why I love working out, which is really because I love comic books. And so when I was growing up reading these comic books, I'm like, I want to look like a superhero, right? I want to, like, because it was like, if I looked like that, everyone can dance. I do believe that. It's about just interpreting your own body's movement. And you can give the frame of certain things, like, like you do a move, or you do like, hey, or like a little shimmy, right? Or like whatever it is, right? You can make anything a dance move, even like a look, right? Can be a move as long as it's done to the beat. So I do think everyone can dance if you can just hear the rhythm, hear where you want to move to it, and just move at that time, and then find out your own signature movements. And then if you move in sync with other beings at the same time, you can make magic happen. And so that's for another time. That's the superhero activation circle that I'm planning on Sunday at some point, so stay tuned for that, because it's a full moon. It's a Capricorn full moon, and Capricorns do get a bad rap because it's like they're ruled by Saturn. They can be really earthy and practical and all that kind of stuff. I will, maybe not on like the comic book reading show, but I think I will like do I should put it like, because dance is storytelling with your body, right? So there's a way of almost like taking cosplay and doing a dance to it that also tells a story. So I'm working on that. I'm just working on it. But I have an idea of this dance between Batgirl and Supergirl, because they have this conversation in Crisis where they're friends, right? And at the end of the world, at the end of time, right, Batgirl, you know, I'm filming this right now, so this is my practice run with you guys. She's like sitting on, you know, in Gotham as like everything's, the multiverse is ending, and she's just like, I don't have powers, what can I possibly do? And I think that there's huge medicine to be found in blasting the music in your own bedroom and just dancing for yourself privately, right? I know the Gotham of over my city. Literally the sirens, the sounds of Gotham City. So, okay, let's finish this comic book read, and then I will leave you guys with some final thoughts and when we will do this next live stream and when you'll find Batgirl again. Tomorrow will be Supergirl, and then Zatanna will hopefully be at some point in time this weekend. Yeah, and then stay tuned for the virtual event that I have on Sunday, which will coincide with the full moon, which will include some dance stuff, some moves that I'm going to give to you guys that you can take in your own, you know, your own movement practices, you know, and you don't have to show it off. It's just, if you want to, you can. But is Doomsday stronger than Superman? Everything is always a matter of context, I think. So like that idea of like, you know, like in Doomsday Clock, how Dr. Manhattan went up against Superman, there's no real answer to that, right? It's just a matter of depending on the conditions and what's been set is like, yeah. Okay, so he says hindsight's 2020, and Batgirl's really upset about the fact that she wasn't able to save Ainsley, and now we're dealing with like her sister who is probably the Red Queen and is like taking revenge for the fact that Ainsley is probably gone as a result of these guys. So, well, not really, but you know, like, you get blamed for trying to help. So, how long are we going to keep using that as an excuse? We keep screwing up over and over. We failed Ainsley, we lost the Red Queen. Nightwing's like, listen, we can't change history and we can't know the future. But now that we know who the Red Queen is, we can find her and we can put this behind us. Before we leave it all in the past, will you do something for me? I know the shadow, right? My little Batman shadow. I would love that. What do you need? Will you? It's like I'm making my own bat signal, right? With the light. Maybe we'll call some of the bat family over. Oh, so it flashes into the past here. So she's like in this time talking to Nightwing. Like, would you do me a favor? Will you come home with me? Ooh, okay. Years ago. So flashback into the past. Shadow is a paid actor. We have to get rid of the Mad Hatter. Until we do, Ainsley won't have a chance to stay clean. I know you want to help her, but the Hatter is too dangerous. Remember, these guys are like still youngins right now. They're new like crime fighters on the scene in Gotham. So Robin's like, listen, Mad Hatter is kind of like up there, right? So let's. I know you want to help your friend, but maybe you should get Batman's help. You know, that's my opinion. Batgirl to Batgirl, and. She says, I say, for us, Robin, or for me? She's getting a little bit defensive. Well, thanks for the roses. appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. For us, Robin, or for me? And he says, you're twisting my words and you know it. And you know what? I have been guilty of this as well. You know, like when you want to like you want to misunderstand on purpose because you're looking for a fight with that person so you can like take out your frustration. She's doing what I know what's happening. And he's calling her out on it too. Where he's like, you're twisting my words and you know it, right? And she says, what do you want to do? Call Batman and have him take... Look, I just said that. Maybe you should get Batman to come in and help. But then that's what she's saying. Like, well, like, we can't handle this ourselves. Well, what do you want to do? Call Batman and have him help us? And have him take care of it? And Robin's like, okay, you've gotten too far. Hey, hold on. No. I'm just saying together we can do this. And I'm not afraid. Are you? It's like a dare, right? A little bit of a dare. Oh, thanks, guys. Thank you for joining me. Well, welcome if you're new. This is the comic book read. I try to do comic book reads in cosplay as like, you know, a meta way of looking at our reality, at the stories that inspire us. And it's just a way of like sharing my comic book collection with you guys as well as the characters that I love. And I love Batgirl for many reasons. I'm doing a bit of a, a birth chart reading for her tomorrow on my YouTube channel. You can get all those links are in my like links in bio that you can get, but I only exclusively do the live reads like this on TikTok. So my schedule, I think I finally have it set. I'm going to be doing Supergirl tomorrow. This is a completion of Batgirl Summer of Lies, so I'm gonna package it all up, you know, in a library format for my members of the Cosmic Comic Book Club, so you can kind of get it all in one go as well. So, and then I also have Constantine and a Zatanna cosplay, which I'm teasing to you guys, and that will hopefully be on Sunday after or during the superhero activation circle that I have planned. So that'll be a free event, but it's going to be a way of introducing you guys to the connection between like how I view astrology and the stars and your like superhero profile, right? So like, are you meant to be more of like a Batman figure, or are you more of like Green Lantern, or are you like a Doctor Strange, or are you a Captain America? So are you more like a renegade, rogue, lone wolf kind of character who sometimes works on a team? So all of these things and types of heroes that we all are, it's, you know, to like it was said in the chat too, like if you know yourself, you also know like where you fit on your team, right? And I've spent a long time like shying away from being a leader of a team, being a captain, even though like that's really what I'm called to do, because I will never abuse leadership, and like I tend to like put my friends in those roles. And so yeah, it's just about knowing yourself, and the stars and the cosmos can help. I don't know if this completes. It doesn't. I need to find... Okay. We're almost there, guys. Okay. I'm just saying we can do this together, and I'm not afraid. Are you? And then, hell no, I'm not afraid. So they just bust in to the Mad Hatter, who's literally like wearing a Mad Hatter outfit, with Ainsley, who's there. And, oh, sweet baby, sit next to me. And then next... checkmate, the finale of this. So we actually don't finish the Summer of Lies, so we will have to finish this another time, right? So what's today? It's officially Thursday, so I'm gonna see if I can bring this back at maybe some point in time on Friday, if not Monday. So I'll let you guys know. Oh, I love Supergirl but I'm not partial to others. You know, I also like certain characters when they get to bounce off certain other characters. Like, for example, Batman sometimes on his own is kind of like really of a downer. But he can be really fun when you bounce him off some of the more light-hearted characters. And so it's kind of it's a fun exploration when you look at these characters when they get to play with each other. That's why I kind of look at it as like play and being able to try on different archetypes and character types and all that kind of stuff as you go through this game of life, right? So thanks, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Oh my gosh, Radical Riley, thank you for enjoying that. Yes, Archie and the Punisher. The Punisher, oh my gosh, I have been working on what cosplay I would do for the Punisher. My sister loves the Punisher. And it's interesting, I was talking to my girlfriend about commonalities between the Punisher and the Crow, because the Punisher, of course, like you're dealing with like vengeance, right? The idea of like something wrong, something terrible has happened, and so you are going to like take vengeance on it, like justified vengeance. Like the Crow is a bit more cosmic in nature, right? This idea of 1 year after, and then you're here to set the wrong things right. I love Brandon Lee a lot, right? I did a birth and death chart reading of him, and the Crow that you can get on my YouTube channel. Hopefully I have it organized in such a way that it's not so hard to find, but you can find it. And so Batgirl, I'm going to be doing a little look at her, as well as Yvonne Craig, who played Batgirl in the old 60s show. And that old 60s show, I love that old 60s show. How they did everything all campy, and just that idea of the comic book nature of it. I am crushing, yeah. So this is what we've finished off reading today. It is the third installment in the Summer of Lies series. I have a few other, like the comics that come before this, I've roped in my hubby to be Nightwing with me, so I'm trying to get him to act out some of those scenes to play out. So that plus Supergirl should be, I'm trying to release all of that tomorrow, and the read that I'm going to be tomorrow will come back to Crisis and Multiversity together as less of a read tomorrow and more of like a look into the deeper meanings of stories. So if you're looking for something that's a bit more like that kind of discussion, that'll be tomorrow's live. And then Friday, I think we're gonna go back to Marvel. I'm gonna bring back Phoenix. Hopefully my Dark Phoenix cosplay is sewed up by then, and so I can give you guys a reveal, and then maybe we can do like a Jean and Jean thing. Something like that. Okay. Thanks, Zoe, for all the likes. I appreciate all that. And once again, apologies for not going live exactly on time for midnight. We're also going to do, I have a lot of Batgirl comics. I will have my sidekick on here. I have a couple of sidekicks. I have my doggy, and I have my husband. So with that, though, I do want it to be more of an interactive thing. So with Zatanna, hopefully if I get my magic show up and running, I can have, because he's a DJ, right? So you know, like those shows where you have like your musical, like my musical guest, or like he can help me do the sound effects. I can cue him to do the sound effects. So stay tuned for that as I get all that going, as well as you guys, I would love to, if you ever feel inspired to do cosplay yourself. Don't tell him that. He'll be so like, what the heck? He's also very Batman-like. My hubby's very Batman-like. I'm sure some of you guys are kind of like this too, you know, where like you notice too much and like you can't do things like small talk. You need to only have like these like deep conversations with people. So and Batman's like that, right? It's just kind of like, oh, like everything you just pay attention to like too much, you know, too much. But that can be a lot of fun too. Oh yeah. And it's funny too because Batman's actually born March 30th, making him an Aries. But I have a hunch. Actually, that's a good birth chart to look at. But I have a hunch his moon's probably in Scorpio. He probably has other things going on in Scorpio because, like, come on, like, you know, because you're dealing with like the unseen, the occult, all of that, the darkness, right? And I'll leave you guys with this. I try to do a lot of comic books on this channel, on the lives that deal with like multiversity. What was I going to say? Oh, sewing them. Yeah, because cosplay is an art, right? Like no different than like comic books are an art. And so there's a level of, I've been very blessed. Thanks you guys, Rashi. That's very sweet. I was trying to inspire you guys to cosplay as well, because I truly think life is just one big LARP. Think about it. Like when I went to work as like a digital project manager, you know, I had to put away like my like fitness persona, my go-go dance persona, and I'm a corporate person and I'm a manager. So that's a cosplay, right? And who's the real person, right? It's just like in The Dark Knight, where Rachel, I think, you know, when she's talking to Bruce Wayne, it's just like looking at Bruce Wayne's face and being like, this is the mask. This is the person. And they talk about this a little bit here too, like who the difference in ourselves and our aspects of selves, and just also being aware, like hopefully all of your different aspects of self get along, you know, and they're not fighting each other. They can work together like a superhero team to like get stuff done. So like that's a real big part of it. I hope I inspire you guys to try cosplay, trying on that role and see what it feels like, see how that person would act like. It's just like when I was do I read any I love Deadpool. I haven't actually I've read comic books that have Deadpool in it, like X-Men, but not specifically Deadpool yet. I love Deadpool. I go to Fan Expo almost every year. I love to go. I was like, oh, but you know what? Confession, I was super shy growing up, like ridiculously shy, so shy. And I made all my friends through dance class, right? Because in dance class, it made it easier for me to talk to people, because like you would have to work together on like a performance or a show and stuff like that. Oh, nice. Steno Brothers of Deadpool and most Wolverine. I am going to Silver Snail tomorrow to pick up a new haul of comic books for the reads to go along with the cosplay. I'm going to look into Deadpool. I think that would be one that hubby wouldn't mind cosplaying as well. Yeah, I was talking to him about Jean and Wolverine, doing a cosplay like Jean Grey and Wolverine, because he's like, I don't want to be Cyclops. And I'm like, that's fair. I don't really. That's fair. So, because I talked to my girlfriend about this, I'm like, Cyclops kind of cheats on everybody, right? He cheats on Jean, he cheats on Emma, he cheats on Jean's clone, so it's not like the best guy. And then like, is he worth fighting over? Probably not. Wolverine actually loves Jean Grey, so there's a bit more of like that. Yeah, but anyways, I'm mixing my universes now. So thank you guys, as always, for sharing in this comic book read, jumping along with me into the land of imagination of comic books and cosplay. So I hope I've inspired you tonight. I hope that I have reawakened some, Silver Snail's moved, though, I think. It's on Queen Street now, so I have this whole strip of places that I go. But thanks you guys for joining me. I'm going to sign off so that I can make sure that I'm like ready for tomorrow and all the stuff that we're all launching and stuff. I hope you have sweet dreams too, Wandering Wizard. I hope that all of you guys have very powerful, wonderful dreams, because we're in a very powerful place as it comes to the collective dreamscape. So all of us who are like big dream weavers, do your thing, right? We need a lot more of that out there, because there's a lot of nightmares being proliferated, a lot of like that vibe. So I think more of the more of that good, juicy, succulent, wonderful, highest timeline stuff is necessary. And that's a good segue into what I will leave you guys with, which is like to have the courage. Dreamweaver, you know, like the Wayne's World song, Dreamweaver, I can't wait. Yeah, that song. So where Cassandra shows up, but that whole idea of like dream weaving, right? The loom, the threads of time, the symbology of even like the threads as they go, and how your thread can twine with other threads, and then you make a whole picture, right? So that whole idea of dreams being the start of how things can come to fruition in this reality, right? It all starts with a dream, a thought, a wish, a hope. And so take those seriously. They matter. And don't forget to have the courage to be exactly who it is that you are, because literally no one else is going to do it. And let's say we're all on a superhero team and we're all on a mission, and you're the person who's supposed to pick the lock, or you're the person who has the special power that's going to get us over the little fence, or it's got to be like everyone's got to do what it is that they're supposed to do, because if you're doing what someone else is supposed to be doing, then no one's doing what you're doing. So yeah, you got to be you, and it can be hard, and no one's going to be able to tell you what it is your soul mission is besides you, and that can be scary, but that's what it is, our joy and we are blessed to be able to do in this game, in this beautiful experience we get to call life. So have the courage to be exactly you, because, my friends, the universe is counting on you. But not to worry, I have your back. So until next time, my superhero friends, stay super, one love you all so much, and I will see all of you next time. Same bad time, same bad channel. Next time, guys. Bye.